The one they call the Big Daddy Kane is here as the party animal, sex symbol, soloist, vocalist, microphone miracle, here to react, attack. As a matter of fact, I bring forth a sudden impact. Wanna say knick-knack, paddywhack, give Kane a microphone, and all the other MCs are going.
At the Grand Concourse 149th Street station in the Bronx, graffiti writers gather at what they call the writer's bench.
What's good, what's good, what's good? Live from the writer's bench, your man Kill, another episode. Got my soldiers Evan, Vic in effect. What's going on, y'all?
Peace, peace, peace.
Yo, shout out to the boy Beezo. He a little under the weather this week, so he ain't gonna be rocking with us tonight. But shout out as always. Tonight we're gonna be chopping it up kind of about two topics. One of the first things we were gonna be talking about is kind of, I don't know if Cat saw, but Buckshot came at the boy Ebro, who's the program director for Hot 97, and kind of, you know, pulled his card for not playing more New York City hip hop. And then there was a video floating around with him and Talib chopping it up kind of about that. And then we also saw this video recently with Young Guru, who was kind of, I guess he was teaching a class or he was just speaking, and he was talking about how he needs an intern to kind of sift through his music because there's just so much music that floods his inbox every day. People sending him stuff, the stuff that's on all the blogs, and him just saying he doesn't have enough time to sit there and listen through it. And watching the video, I kind of felt the same way. I mean, no, I don't have people blowing my inbox up with their music, but just in all the hip hop and all the mixtapes and everything that comes out, it's kind of like it had me start thinking, if Hot 97 is not playing the music, because that's where our era got our music from. You know, most cats can say the first time I heard fill in the blank was maybe on Stretch and Bobbito or Hot 97 or Street Beat with Lady B in Philly or whatever radio station, you know, was playing hip hop in whatever city you're from. And since we don't have that radio no more doing it, how do we find new music? You know, and are we looking for new music? By everybody on here being a digger, you know, I'm always digging for old music. I'm just always looking for new music, not necessarily new meaning the era of right now, but just music I didn't know about. So, yo, Vic, set us off, B. How do you go about finding new music nowadays since the radio ain't really no help to us no more?
Yeah, because I stopped messing with the radio, man. I don't really drive a car like that. I think that's really my issue with the radio. It wasn't a conscious, are they playing some BS? I'm just not gonna listen to them no more. It just came down to me not being in a vehicle like that. But what I do, man, is the internet is just a great tool, and I use YouTube, and it's a balance because a lot of what I'm looking for is old, you know. But I come across a lot of new cats. That's how I got up on like Kendrick Lamar. I mean, it was no, you know, I didn't turn on the radio and that's Kendrick. It actually came from me digging for stuff. Is how I find it. I mainly use like YouTube, and that led me to Apple Juice blog. Big up to those cats because they put out a lot of I hate that word backpacker, but a lot of, you know, your indie hip hop now. I think it's Apple Juice Break or Apple Juice blog. I was messing with Flower Point Brooklyn for a while there. They were putting up mixes. And you know, I ain't gonna front, man. Me and Ev always taught this. I'm in the pop at the end of the day, man. So, you know, people call me suspect if you want, but I'll put on a Rick Ross video. I'm a big Pharrell fan. I'm a big NERD fan. And a lot of times when I go look for that, when you put up the tags to YouTube, it'll just bring up so many other artists. You know what I mean? And I give them some play, man. I mean, it's weird how I do it. It might be, you know, a black and white video, which I love black and white film, might get me to click onto that joint and check it out. You know what I mean? Or, you know, that Pharrell sound, man, with the keyboard. I'm a huge Rhodes fan. Anybody got Fender Rhodes in their joint is gonna get my ear regardless. You know what I mean? So that's pretty much how I go about, man. You know, it's no science to it. Me and Ev were talking about that the other day, man. that YouTube is just it's a humongous break for all of us, because you know, I bugged out with a lot of cats from overseas, you know, and I don't know if it, you know, anybody's ever been on there that's listening to us, man. You know, hip hop, R&B, soul music, jazz is so different overseas. It's still like, to me, like it's in its primal stage. You know what I mean? And the stuff that they're listening to, I mean, they give it all a chance, you know, which I think is a good thing, man. They're not necessarily just, you know, okay, that's Lil Wayne, I ain't gonna listen to it, because I ain't gonna front, man. I listen to some of Lil Wayne's. I love that one song, man. I can't think of the name of it, but there's a couple joints by that kid that I dig. So, you know, the internet is pretty much, for me, what I use, man.
No doubt. What about you, Ev?
The way I find, well, first of all, to address the radio thing, I'm like Vic. I don't know the last time I really listened to the radio on the East Coast. However, I was just on the West Coast a couple of weeks ago for about 2 weeks, and we had nothing but the radio, because we had another car, so I didn't bring no stuff with me, so we had nothing pretty much but the radio, and the radio was banging. The radio over there was a lot doper than what I found over here. I don't know who's making those decisions, but it is something that I peeped. Like, they had a lot of 90s hip hop, and you know.
Now, was it a specific station you was listening to, or just kind of like?
I'm sure it was, because it was always the same station. But I don't want to, you know, give any false information, so I can't really tell you what the station was, because I really don't remember. I just know it was the one, you know, radio station that I was playing, and I was out from Pasadena to San Bernardino, and you know, out in San Bernardino, it was only really one station that really came through pretty good, and that was that one hip hop station, and it was pretty dope, man. You know, they was playing like old school Buster stuff. It was just stuff that I haven't heard on the radio in a long time. And you know, I might be somewhere to listen to the radio when I'm in New York. They listen to the radio here. You know, you hear all the quote unquote, you know, the chart toppers or whatever like that. So the radio definitely for me is not a way that I find my new music. Mine comes in various forms, man. It could come from somebody, you know, put a post up on Facebook or something that they like. I mean, once in the blue, that'll happen, and I'll get hip to something, and then I'll go and once my thing is too, once I get hip to something, I just go and dig on that person. So I go and find out who they are, what albums they did, you know, find a little bit of their background. So that's one thing. Another thing too that works really good for me is TVs and movies. You know, you get a lot of new stuff, and you know, a lot of these shows that are out now, they might play something in the background and just might be dope. And so I might go and find a new artist or whatever like that. Of course, a lot of that stuff isn't necessarily hip hop, but you still get some really good, some really dope music, and it'll lead you to other places. So or my peoples, you know, I might have, you know, once in a while I might talk to somebody that, you know, has some new artists that they've listened to, and we might talk about it. They may share some names. I might give some names. So that's like a fourth way. And then here, it's funny because here, every time I do the writer's bench, man, I always have my piece of paper and my pen, because somebody's always going to say something after the show that I want to go look up. I want to go find out more about, whether it's a book or whether it's somebody's album or whether it's a new artist. So, you know, for me, you know, the Live from the Writer's Bench has been a good source of new material as well.
Cool, that's what's up.
Am I boring?
No, man. You know me, man. I'm a dad, a team worker, man. I done been up so late, man. I don't even know how I'm awake right now at all, but got dug through it. But yeah, I think I'm a mixture like both of y'all together, because I think the biggest, I read an interview a long time ago, maybe about 4 or 5 years ago, and Nas was saying that if the music is dope enough, it'll find you. You know what I mean? And it's kind of like, I kind of looked at it, I was like, yo, that's dope, you know, because I was at that Young Google place of it just being so much music coming out, and it's almost like you can't even give an album a solid run, because there's like 5 other dudes in line, you know, you want to get them in and listen. And you know, when he said that, it kind of made sense, and that's what I tried to start doing, and that's actually how I got put on to Drake. Like when Drake first came out, you know, mixtapes, all albums ago, everything like that, because different people kept coming to me about Drake. Like one of my dudes who still in the street. It's like, yo, you gotta hear this dude Drake. One of my dudes in church was like, you gotta hear about this. Like different dudes too was coming to me. So I was like, all right, you know, let me check this dude out. And I heard the mixtape and I was like, yo, dude I rock with dude. So it's kind of like that's why I started to do same thing like you, Vic, with Kendrick. Same way I got put on to Kendrick. A lot of people just like, yo, Kendrick's dope. And I mean, I won't hold you. Until the album came out, I always felt like he was nice, but I never saw the hype of Kendrick Lamar that everybody was telling me about until I heard the album. I think I just like how the album is put together, conceptualized, like, you know, with Day in Compton for a young black man growing up in Compton. I think that's what really made me love the album so much. And then I'm like you, Eb, with, you know, music. I mean, with TVs and movies. You know, like, you know, I love the dudes. Whoever built the app Shazam, yo, I love them dudes to death.
Oh yeah.
I'll be in the supermarket and hear something and Shazam it, and you know, and like you said, Vic, it's not even gotta be old and new. I got put on to some I guess is Dino Washington, or is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah.
I got put on to some stuff. We was in I was with T. She was going somewhere. We was in some store. She was looking at shoes and something came on, and I had to tag that. Or, you know, like I told you, Ev, I was just watching the whole first 2 seasons of How to Make It in America. And truth be told, the music that's on there, their music in the background is just crazy. It just covers all genres. So, you know, I stay Shazamming something. And same thing like you, Vic, with YouTube. Like whenever I'm on there, like you said, if something else pops up or anything like that, you know, so I think that's how I kind of sift through it. But how do y'all feel? Do you feel like New York radio needs to play more New York hip hop?
Cool.
You know, it's kind of hard for me to answer that question because I could go without the radio. I mean, I go without the radio. Right. I mean, I think it's see, my whole thing for that is I don't know necessarily it needs to play more New York hip hop. I just think it needs to play more hip hop.
Right.
You know, as opposed to playing a lot of rap music. And I'm sure they know the difference between the two. Right. I just think that's something they need to kind of like, you know, maybe put a stronger foot forward in making that move, because your existence is hip hop. Now, it's funny because I was watching the interview that Talib did with I can't think of the brother's name. Ebro, yeah. And Talib was basically saying in the interview, he was like, you know, I could do with or without the radio. You know what I'm saying? Like I want to develop my fan base and get my fan base going and stuff like that. And you know, I can understand that, but I think also what he was saying too, he was like, yo, if you're in it just for making money, then just say you're in it for making money. Don't say, yo, we're keeping it real, we're trying to keep hip hop alive, this and that. If you in it just for making money, but like, yo, we're in it to play the chart hits, the top chart hits, because in the end of the day, that's what's going to pay our bills. And he said, I can respect that. And I can understand where he's coming from. Like, yeah, if that's what you in it for, say that's what it is. And then this way it's clear. You know, you're not painting any pictures, whereas I'm coming to look for something that I'm not going to get. So I just think, maybe, and that's all radio stations, not just New York. I think just as across the board. I mean, there's a lot of radio stations nowadays that, you really gotta find a hip hop, which is kind of weird because back in the day there wasn't a hip hop radio station. So you had to wait till, like, coming from Philly, you had to wait till like 12, 1 o'clock on a Friday night to hear some hip hop. So now you got these quote unquote hip hop radio stations, but yet I still gotta wait till 12, 1 o'clock to hear some hip hop. Like it's kind of a crazy thing that's crazy cycle that's happening, just for me to still be able to get and appreciate the music that I love. So I don't know. I think there's work that definitely can be done from the station perspective, but at the same point in time, if they're like, yo, we're trying to get sponsors and pay our bills, and for us to do that, we gotta play all this other stuff. Then say that. Don't paint a picture of,
where hip hop lives.
Yeah, exactly. When it don't. Hip hop is out in the backyard. You won't even let in the house.
Right.
Yeah, I agree with Ev, man. And what is New York hip hop? What does that mean? Like,
I think most cats are defining it. I think most cats are define New York hip hop as, the hip hop we grew up, the Action Bronsons, the Manos, the Math Regazinos, the what's dude's name? Joey Badass. You know, cats like that. Why aren't there? When you say that?
I'm sorry, you're saying cats that are. So you mean cats are like from New York? You mean?
I mean, I think a lot of times, and I could be taking it the wrong way. I think a lot of times when people say New York rap, I just always take it as just East. I guess what used to be East Coast hip hop. Like not necessarily that you're from New York, but it's just that boom bap hip hop, type thing. So I think that's what they're saying. Why don't they get played? Why doesn't stuff like that get played more like that? So I think that's how they're defining New York hip hop.
Look, half of New York ain't even from New York no more. Yo, for real. And I mean, it's much bigger than that. I guess the way I was thinking about it today, even before, I knew what the subject was going to be for the night. I'm like, that BDP album, I tell you what happened. Marley Marl ended up redoing Queensbridge by this cat named Kamikaze. It's called Queensbridge 95. The shit is just hot. And I was always thinking like, I always loved that joint by Shan Queensbridge, but at the end of the day, I'm like, I ain't from Queens. So it got limited play. So I'm thinking of it like that. Are these cats saying we need more New York hip hop, more New York artists talking about New York stuff? Like, I think we'll be beyond that now. Like, I'm kind of glad, like, the Cali cats, even though it's still subtle in their music because it's a part of their culture out there, but I'm glad we got past the gangbanging stuff. That's really why I couldn't find myself listening to too much NWA. Because I'm listening to it, but I ain't been to Cali. I don't know what that's all about. The beat was knocking, but then when I tried to get in the lyrics, I'm like, okay, one cut, I'm done. So I don't necessarily want to find myself, I'm a digger and I love to go back, but I don't want to see myself going back to where you had a DJ Red Alert show and it was like everybody else in the world wasn't getting it. I'm kind of glad like it's branched out and you now hearing cats from other places, you know what I mean? And the music, the lyricism has moved on beyond what's just going on your corner.
Right. All right, well, let me play devil's advocate for a minute then, because in the video, Ebro talks about how his DJs, now when you think about back in the day with us, if you go back to maybe like 93, 94, if you're DJing a party, you're spinning Woo, you're spinning Midnight. No matter what club you're at, no matter where you was, the tunnel, wherever, these are the joints that's out. So when a DJ would then come to the station and the program director would say, we're sitting in the clubs, play that up here, basically the radio would mirror the club. So Ebro's thoughts are the new club is now the strip club. So cats frequent the strip club now probably more than ever. I know more women. You go back to 95 when I was in college, you couldn't pay a chick to go to a strip club.
Right.
The chicks be at the strip club more than dudes do nowadays. So the strip club is
going to strip clubs. Right?
Yeah, the strip club is now happy hour. That's the new spot. So when Ebro's asking the DJs, what's banging in the club, which is now AKA the strip club, they're gonna say 2 Chainz, they're gonna say all the stuff that they playing on the radio. So for him, he's saying, well, look, I'm doing the same programming I've always done. My DJs keep their ear to the streets. In 95, their ear to the streets was Biggie, was Nas, and all that stuff. In 2014, it's 2 Chainz, it's Chief Keef, it's all these other people. So for him, his defense is, well, look, at the end of the day, my ear is still to the street. Do y'all think he's wrong for that?
I'm asking some clarity, because my question is, so you're saying that Ebro is saying that he's playing the music that is hot in the strip club right now. Is that what he's saying?
Right. That the radio is gonna mirror what you hear in the strip club the same way it did in the 90s. The radio would mirror what you heard in the club or what you heard at a party or whatever like that. So for him, it's like, I'm still doing the same thing that we always did. I've always listened to the streets. And it's kind of like how we said before. I remember reading interviews with Primo and they'd be like, we leave D&D, we hop in my MPV, we head out to Brooklyn and play what we just recorded, what Gangstar just did for our hood. Whereas now cats, and I've seen cats literally leave the studio and go to the strip club. And that's where you test your records at. Like, we test records now in the strip club. So for Ebro, he's saying, I'm just playing what the streets are telling me to play. And do y'all think that's wrong when he breaks it down like that?
I actually agree with him. I kind of agree with dude.
I think it's wrong.
All right, well, hold on, Vic. You agree with him? Where's that?
I mean, because, you know, if we talking about cats with these subliminal, supreme, you know, albums, and you gotta really sit down and listen to them, you know, which kind of divided us all. You know, we went into the whole, I guess they called it backpacker music. And then you had the cats, man, that, look, man, I'm doing party music. I want it in the club. I want to get paid. I want the video. I want to, you know, I want the whole boom bash that just, you know, we hip hop artists, man. We like rock stars. I mean, I get that, man. I mean, why would you want to be in the club and something like, you know, I can't even think of an album offhand, man. Just deep song playing, and you know, I agree with you, man. I think it's just some stuff. You know, it's like we had it, man. You had Kid and Play. Like, Kid and Play got played in the club. You wasn't necessarily gonna be playing, you know. I can't even think of somebody serious back in the day, but like a lot of the man, if I could just think of somebody to submit my point. But I get what he's saying, man. I mean, we had Kid and Play got played in the club versus you wouldn't play like the Jizza album in the club.
Right.
So I get that. I get that, man. It's you know, it's certain artists that's the type of music they're doing, dance music. I guess, like, you know, with R&B, you had the cats that were doing disco, and then the cats that, you know, I'm gonna do this, you know, I'm gonna stay serious about it and do some songs of freedom. You know what I mean? Like, to put it in words. So I agree with them, man. I you know, I mean, we still got clubs. It's just a strip club now. But,
right. So does that change your mindset? Like, if you didn't like Hot 97, after hearing Ebro's explanation, would you be like you said, you know, you get it. So does that change your mindset, like, towards Hot 97? Like, okay, well, since dude broke it down like that, I get it. You know, let them have it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So what you say, Ev?
I disagree. I think I do see some issues with it. I got 2 points. My first point is, throughout history, you know, the radio is known to be the one to break an artist. So if you're the one to break an artist, that means you're supposed to be the person that kind of like takes that first step or that first leap, whatever the case may be. And if there's a time period, okay, so and if that's the case, then that's what it is. But that sounds like that doesn't exist anymore. Like, you're not breaking artists. You're basically looking to see what the people are playing, and that's cool too. Maybe that's the root of breaking an artist. My issue is, though, that back in the day, we're talking about playing what's in the club. Okay, so you go out to the streets, you find out what's hot in the club, and you play it on the radio because that's what you know, the people are listening to. Cool. But if you get specific with it now, you're like, okay, now we want to find out what's going on in the strip club, as if clubs don't exist anymore. So we went from the club to the strip club now, but we still have clubs around, but yet we want to find out what's hot in the strip club. And
hold on for 1 second. I think the only thing about that is, and to be honest with you, I ain't been in the club in years, but I would probably assume that whatever the club is playing, it probably mirrors what the strip club is playing. So I don't know if they're...
Oh, I mean, that's my whole argument.
Joint in Philly is a strip club.
So, that's my whole argument, is that you got to find out who's the source, who's following, and who's leading. So my thing is that if you look at it from that perspective, then if we're talking about the club and the strip club, who's to say who's following? The club may be playing what's playing on the radio, which they're getting from the strip club. It could be that line. So it doesn't mean that they play the same thing at the same time. It just means that their sources are, you know, is one following the other. And my issue with that is that, you know, cats love to have these, you know, it's a good job. You know, working for the radio, I'm sure it's a good job. I'm sure it's a big opportunity, but it's also a big responsibility. So if you're looking at it from the level of opportunity and responsibility, you can't take one and not want to be responsible for the other. Like, what kind of want to dismiss the other? Like, and my thing with that is strip club music is strip club music for a reason, because chicks need to be able to dance to it, to shake their ass to it. That's what the strip club is about. So you may not want to play no PE in the strip club because it doesn't fit for that environment. So why would you make the strip club environment the environment of the community? Because that's what you're doing by playing strip club music, stuff that fits in the strip club environment. Why would you take that and make that the environment of the neighborhood now? And I think that's what's happening. So I mean, for me, that's one of the issues that I see, is that if you're going to the strip club to find your music and you're playing that, and then everybody else is going to play what you're playing, then you're creating a community around your source, which is a strip club.
Right. And I think I'm kind of on both sides of the fence, because, and I want to tackle some things you said. Like you said, it's a big responsibility. I don't think nobody cares about their responsibility no more. Like, I think it's strictly nowadays, everything is about the money. You know what I mean? And I think one thing that, you know, and what we represent, and what I love about the bench, is that we represent like the hip hop heads who have grown up, gotten jobs, getting married, in relationships, have kids. And one thing I in editing our videos, I always, and I mean, you probably said it just 5 times, and I know I say it all the time, but back in the day, you know what I'm saying? So we judge so much stuff off of what the responsibility was back in the day. I remember when Evil D, I was reading an interview with him, and he was saying how, like, that, like you said, people took pride in breaking artists. Like, a DJ would take pride to say, yo, that was stretching Bobbito Steve's basically. Like, yo, we had Bust Up, we had Wu-Tang up here before they was Wu-Tang. We had the first time you heard Foul Minds, the first time you heard Biggie, the first time you heard Nas on the airwaves. Like, that's their basic claim to fame, was that we helped break all these artists. And I think nowadays DJs aren't worried about breaking artists, because now everything is based off of money. So I don't know if there's any money in breaking artists. See, for breaking artists, back in the day, you got the props, you know, and we all salute, you know, Stretch and Bob for what they did. But I don't think nobody wants props nowadays. People want money. You know what I mean? So I think that that's the hard part, is that you're absolutely right. It's like J. Wu said, when you have a voice to say something, say something. You know, it's just the fact that we have all these rappers and artists and everybody who has a voice, and the biggest stage now, I mean, now more than ever, your words are heard around the planet, but we're not saying nothing. You know what I mean? And then I also feel what Vic is saying, and I just kind of feel like we need an adult contemporary radio station. You know what I mean? I feel like, I always tell cats coming up in Philly in the 80s and the 90s, you had Power 99, which was for our generation, and you had WDAS for my mother's generation. And then WDAS would play the Phyllis Hyman, the Anita Baker, the Luther Vandross, all that good soul stuff. And then Power 99 would play the Jodeci, you know, the Boys the Men, all the newer stuff. So it was like each age group kind of got what they needed from the radio. And I just feel like our age group has just been left out, because there is no adult contemporary hip hop. You know what I mean?
I've always said that. I was like, Nas was going to end up being off 4 times.
Right.
One day. And to Ev, man, you know, I mean, I look back at the clubs, man, you know, it's like when you told me the day you found out the bookstore used to be Union Square, and you seen how huge that joint was. And, you know, that era is gone for various reasons. The shootouts, the drug dealing, the amount of space in a place like New York City, the expense of it. And, you know, to me, I mean, I'm 43. I don't want to see myself, you know, partying with some 20-year-olds. You know, I'm not on it like that. And I think another thing is, it just, you know, what I was saying earlier, as far as the massiveness of the club movement, I think it's just turned into all that's left is the strip club. And then another question I have, that wasn't a question, but as an artist trying to support a family or do whatever it is you do, you know, do you have to find some way, giving yourself some leeway, like, you know what, I gotta put out some shit for the people. I gotta put out this club joint, man. Or do you just stick to your guns, like, yo, no matter what, This shit just gonna be hard and mental and just, you know, mind bending.
Well, no. I mean, to answer your question, I think, you know, music, you know, and those that choose to be in the music business, it's an occupation, and you have an occupation to make money from it. Like, I'm definitely not going against that. I think my issue is, though, well, my point that I'm attempting to make is that because these cats are trying to make money, we have to look at how that's happening. And is that the only way you can make money? To me, it's not, because you have still cats coming out that are having like top records without poison. And when I talk about, like, you know, I'm talking specifically about the poison that's played, because I mean, there's a lot of poison that's at the top of the charts that the radio plays, but then people want to turn around and wonder, well, why is the neighborhood, why are the kids so wild? Well, you can't scream peace in the streets and then play a bunch of violence. To me, it's going to be that. Not that I'm saying that we have to have a PE radio station and it's all, you know, peace, and, you know, everything is good. No, it's okay to have a balance. But when what you're playing is off balance, there's going to be consequence and repercussions for it. So the consequence and repercussion is what's happening right side of our door. But yet nobody wants to take responsibility for why that is, for the reasons why that happens. But yet everybody want to assume, oh, the kids are just crazy. Well, the kids ain't just crazy. There's a lot of other stuff going on. So, I mean, to answer your question, like, you know, yeah, you can still have chart-topping music. Music is, I mean, it's a rhythm, it's a melody. It's about having a catchy rhythm and a catchy melody. The content doesn't have to be poisonous. It just doesn't have to be that in order for you to chop the tarts. 9 times out of 10 right now, if you look at, you know, probably, I guess and I'm just throwing this out there, I have no idea, but if you look at the top 3, you know, selling singles right now, I wonder if they're talking about a bunch of violence. And like I said, my point specifically, I'm talking about the violence, because that's a lot of what you get from the radio today is some type of violence.
And Kill, I got the same question to you as a producer. Do you produce, you know, the quote unquote backpacker, you know, or do you go with the club banger, man? I mean,
to be honest with you, fam, the crazy thing is, Vic, I got so many folders on my computer. I got a folder called Andre 3000 Weirdo Music. You know what I mean? So it's almost like I've never set out, and that's one thing I've always never tried to do, because just being in the radio game for 10 years and kind of looking at it, I've never tried to set out to make a radio hit. Like, I'm not sure if you ever heard me and Vegas's album, You're All Welcome. It's a song on there called, God, it would be good if I remember the name of my first song, but God, man, this is horrible. My brain don't work no more. But to say that the first single, and Ev knows this, I really don't make a lot of up-tempo beats. Like, I stay in the 80s to the 90s. Like, that's my boat right there. And anything in the club is definitely gonna be 95 and above. Okay. So when I do make up-tempo beats, I send them directly to Ev, because I know that he likes to rock with them. But again, it's never done on purpose. Like, from producing since 92, I've never made a beat like on purpose, like unless it was like a challenge. Like my man who used to work with me, he wanted to do house music, so he was like, yo, see if you can make a house beat. But it was a challenge off of him. It wasn't like a challenge to try to get, you know, radio play, because I've seen what happens. And I was telling F this the other day, when you look at MOP, on MOP's, I think it was their 3rd album, First Family for Life, they had a joint with Jay-Z that was using the Rocky sample, which at the time looked like the blueprint for a perfect radio song. It's like, we got Jay-Z, it's the Rocky sample, everybody knows it. It did absolutely nothing. The radio didn't play it. You know, it was just blew over. Then these niggas come out with a song called Annie Up about robbing niggas, and there you go. You know, so I've always looked at it like that, like there's no specific science to it. Same thing back in the day, Smooth the Hustler. Smooth had this joint called, I think it was called Hustlin', and he just looped up the old Curtis Mayfield joint, Freddie's Dead, was rhyming over that. That was supposed to be the single. Again, simple loop, everybody knows the song, didn't do anything. It was the B-side, Broken Language with Trigger, that blew up, and that's what put them on. So I've always kind of been against the mind state of trying to come into a situation to make a song for the radio. I think you kind of just gotta make a song. I just believe if you make good music, it'll be appreciated. Now, of course, that's not gonna be all the time, but that's just my firm belief. And to kind of answer your question about what you had asked Ev about a rap, I remember there was a time when Ghostface's singles would always be like something poppy. It would always be, you know, and me and my man Jace, who were big Ghost fans, would never get mad at him because, like, I understand the game, but just give me the rest of your album being, you know, what you are. Or even with a Jay-Z, I'm like, dog, I understand people got to feed their families, so can you at least give me the mixtape? Like, Jay, you can have the album with all the pop hits and all that, but can you at least give me the mixtape? I'll pay for it too. You ain't gotta give it away free. I'll pay $10 for the Jay-Z mixtape with the hip hop bangers on there. So I think that's where I'm with Ev. Like, there's just no balance. Like, I know you gotta feed your family. Trust and believe. I know that. And you could do that, but I still feel like you could throw us, the cats who kind of made you who you are, because the people who pushed Jay-Z to the level where he is now, or he even was there to kind of help push him up, was us. It was the hip hop dudes, you know. And I kind of feel like, damn, the least you could do is throw us a bone. The least you could do is throw us a mixtape, you know, of just. And I remember Jadakiss used to always be like that, because when I got the Champ Is Here mixtape, I'm like, whoo, this dude's album is gonna be incredible. Then I hear the album, he got songs with Mariah Carey and everything like that. So I'm disappointed, but at the end of the day, I'm like, but at least I got the mixtape. You know, at least I got the mixtape. Like, and that's what I feel like a lot of these artists don't do. They just make this one-sided music, and folk like us kind of just get left in the dust. And it's kind of like what Jay-Z said, you want to hear my old stuff, go buy my old, you know, go listen to the old album, right, you know, type thing. And, you know, even when Nas threw that little shot, I felt like he took a shot at niggas with the whole off the joint locomotive off of Life Is Good, when he was like, this is for my trapped in the 90s niggas. You know what I mean? And I'm like, I felt some kind of way like, dog, this track is incredible. You know what I mean? No ID did the track. The beat is incredible. Large Pro was just talking on the chorus. This is hip hop. And then for you kind of ruined it for me talking about this is for my trapped in the 90s niggas. Because I'm like, this is hip hop. Right. Like, so right. Why are you taking a shot like this is for y'all? This is for all y'all niggas who want me to keep making. I almost felt like it was like, this is for all you niggas who want me to keep making hip hop.
And I think, I think prime examples of the reason why like stuff like that doesn't make any sense to me, with not saying this is for my trapped in the 90s niggas, is the fact that you have Kendrick Lamar's album. Kendrick Lamar's album was about him and his experience in his environment. He had songs about peer pressure. He had songs about, you know what I mean, just being in the wrong neighborhood at the wrong time. He had songs about just, you know, personal issues with, you know, people that he knew in his neighborhood. It wasn't a one-sided type of album, but yet this is like one of the top hip hop albums of 2013.
But hold tight. But keep in mind, I think Kendrick, I don't know if it went platinum. I know it went gold. I'm not sure if it went platinum. It may have gone platinum. But I think the hard part is that when cats look at 2013, they're gonna say Kendrick's name comes up, but when it comes to those record sales and those magical numbers, it's always gonna be Jay. It's always gonna be Dre.
Yeah,
you know,
that's okay. But even that to me, that's okay, because you don't have to be the platinum dude to be successful. That to me, it always goes back to your definition of success. And then if you look at Jay and Drake ain't talking about gun toting on the corner, ain't talking about laying motherfuckers down. You know what I mean? They ain't talking, you know, Jay still wants to give references to his drug dealing era, which I'm like, okay, yo, cat, it's been a very long time. Drake ain't necessarily talking about that at all. So, you know, you still got two people who are in that bracket of selling music, but not necessarily coming with that content. So I don't understand why people feel like, yo, this is what we got to do in order to get up there. And again, I'm just specifically talking about the drugs and the violence. I'm not talking about like, you know, all the other shit. And to get to the just to go back a little bit, Annie Up was a song about robbing flashy people. It wasn't just about robbing people. It was robbing that just, you know, they blinging and, you know, you out there doing your thing, whatever the case may be. But yeah, but that's my thing, man. I think that, you know, Kendrick Lamar's album showed that you can come and be a spitter and be serious about MCing and be serious about your craft and be successful.
But you know, I think the problem with that is like you said, it's Kendrick Lamar. You could be serious about being a spitter. I don't know if there's a lot of new spitters out there. A lot of these dudes who are coming up, I don't even think can barely even rap.
I think me personally, I think we're on a verge of a lot of spitters coming back out. I think everything goes in a circle. I think we've gone through our producer thing again, like we did back in the day with Primo and with Pete Rock. I think this whole thing with Kanye and with whoever, you know, the case might basically be as far as the producer part. But I think now we're getting back into our MC now. But I knew it was going to be a matter of time when it happened. There's going to be somebody to open up that door, and I think, you know, we need to just usher them cats in, because I do believe that the whole idea of MCing and that craft and that art form is, I think Kendrick's crew showed that, yo, this is our craft. This is what we practice to do and practice to become better at. And I don't think everybody else is looking at it as, even Kendrick throwing out that diss record, whatever the case may be, that made a lot of MCs who are already out go back and be like, yo, you know, I need to come back with better bars. I need to come back with better MCing. I need to be more on my craft in order to be able to be in here with the rest of these sharks. So I think, you know, we are already in, actually, I really feel like we're already in that age of these MCs. It's just a question of who's going to make it through the filter. Basically, who are we going to be able to find next? Because Kendrick is not going to be the only one. It's going to be somebody out that's going to be better than him, somebody else going to be better than him, and it's going to move like that.
You know, the only thing that I'm kind of like not worried about, but I almost feel like it's like back in the 70s and 80s, you know, you had a lot of dudes who could play live instruments, you know, because, you know, maybe they took music at school or whatever. And I kind of feel like this era, you know, because music is being cut in the schools, you know, you're not finding as many like bands and people who can play right now because of maybe how they were taught the music or whatever like that. I'm kind of concerned about, are there going to be a lot of spitters? Because how do you learn how to spit? You know, from what, you know, the conversations we were having, I asked you as being an MC, I know a lot of times, you know, the ciphers was something. I can't remember if it was Paz from De La or somebody in that crew. They was like, yo, being on tour with, you know, Black Star and the Roots and De La and all these MCs, it kept me lyrically sharp, because every night we're freestyling, we're battling against each other, you know, we're working at it. Like, it's almost like a basketball player. The only way that you can get better is if you're practicing on the court, way before the game even comes. Same thing with a boxer. You got to spar in the ring before you go into the fight. Where are these new MCs? Because like you said, Kendrick put out the diss album and ain't nobody come close. Like, there was like at least 10 responses and nobody even came close.
Oh, but I'm not. Oh, my bad. Go ahead. My bad.
No. So I feel you saying, I think cats wanted to. I think anybody who went in the studio to record a song about that Kendrick joint Control went in there in the mindset of, I'm gonna light this nigga's ass on fire. I'm gonna sit here and spit. You know, I'm going in on this dude. You know what I mean? And nobody came close. It was like Young Guru said. It was like Kendrick put up 63 in the Garden. I think Joel Ortiz may have come the closest. Like, Joel may have dropped 38, which ain't bad. But dog, you so far away.
But maybe it's like what you said earlier, Kill. Like, we were talking, you know, about the list and people not really being involved with hip hop compiling this list of what's the best of all time. Maybe that's just it with like Kendrick Lamar. He's around people that not only know but really love, came up with hip hop, right, and it's dictating what he's putting out. My point was, me and my girl last night were watching American Idol, and everybody sounded the same. The men, the women, they just, even the people they had on there faking it, they just all sounded the same. And I said, damn, man, you know, where's the Mariah Carey? Not Mariah Carey, where's the Minnie Riperton? You know, where's the Shaka Khan? Where's the Tina Marie? Where's all these other artists, man? Where's the Elton John? Everybody is Justin Bieber, or they, you know, what's the chick that I'm a lion, or whatever that joint is. Everybody was that, man. And it was like, you know, nobody was pushing the boundaries. I always told Evidence, I'm waiting for the next cat, man, that's in his basement right now, that's gonna go beyond the MC.
Well, that's what I want to comment on. Actually, answer your question, Kill, is when Kendrick put out that diss record, nobody that's out right now was going to come close to what he's doing. It's just not going to happen. For the simple fact that they're already out off of what they know. off of who they are at this moment. So there's no pressure for them to go and study and to get better, because you're not gonna go and sit on a verse for a week and come back as a completely different and better MC. It just doesn't happen like that. But as far as coming from an MC perspective, the way that that happens where these new MCs come out, it's not necessarily about being around better MCs, although that does help. What it is about is the same way that a Jimi Hendrix played guitar. You go home and you study your craft. As an MC, it starts with you first. Start with you being in your basement or in your room, and you writing and you spitting and you writing and you spit before you even spit it to your friends. Before you even kick a verse to your friends. Before I kick any verse to my peoples. Classic was probably the first one, that I probably kicked the verse to, and my man Doc. But before any of that happened, I spent a lot of time trying to piece this thing together, because I was passionate about it, and that always starts with the passion. You're passionate about it, so you go and you study and you become better and better and better and better, up until a point when you get enough confidence to say it to somebody else and see what their response is. And if their response is good, that's when you go and you put in your extra work. And you just keep working to get better and better. So when you get into, and I guess the good thing about, during that time period that I was coming up, and I think that still happens now, that's what I'm seeing now, which I love, is that you can go up and hit a cipher and spit with some cats and see who's hot on your own, from your own opinion. Oh, this cat over here is stupid nice. This cat over here is stupid nice. Let me go back so I make sure I get better. It's like jazz. It's like jazz. You was a jazz player, you went to the club, if you didn't play good, they threw you off the stage until you went back home and got better. But that's, to me, that's every craft, every artistic craft. You have to go in and just get better and better and study harder and harder and become a better individual, a better person as far as what you're doing. And then you come back as that bona fide MC. And I think that bona fide MC is not going to be nobody that's necessarily out right now. Maybe they're working on an album. Maybe they did a couple of mixtapes. They just haven't gotten to the top yet. But I think they definitely do exist, because I think everybody. And that's the one thing I like about it too, is everybody wants to be at the top of their game. And don't get me wrong, Jay-Z is cool, but Jay-Z, he's a good MC. Is he like stupid, crazy dope to me? No. So he's a bad level for me. I mean, a bad I'm trying to say, like, this is the level you got to get to. And so you got to get beyond that. He was a bad representation of that, because he was just, to me, Jay-Z was cool. He had some hot lines, but was he a sick MC? No, when I heard Kendrick, I heard Kendrick on the Pusha T joint. He's a sick MC. Like, dude is sick. So he raised the bar for everybody else. So you're going to have a lot of kids nowadays coming and wanting to do that. Another thing, and I hate to be long-winded, I apologize, but one thing I do want to add is that the fact that you have cats that are referencing the 90s and or trying to redo 90s albums just shows me, like, okay, this whole thing is coming full circle. Even the essence of what that was about, being a perfectionist of your craft. If you as a producer, you want to be the dopest producer because you want to be the most different. You want to have your own style. Like Ghostface said, I don't want nobody bite my shit. You want to have your own style and be your own thing. So that's my 2 cents. I didn't mean to get so long-winded with it.
No. I mean, you made a lot of good points. I think the hard part where I'm stuck at is I hear everything you're saying, and I think that those are the rules we came up on. And I do believe that there are some. I'm not saying that there aren't, but I just feel like the percentage of people, like you said, who, like you said with the DJs, you got a responsibility. I'm sure there are a few DJs who maybe go at home at night like, damn, I wish I'm playing Poison to our people, but I got to pay the bills. But I feel like the other 80% are like, they good. So I almost feel like these dudes nowadays, almost like the NBA, we have such a watered down product, because I don't believe too many of these dudes in the NBA even love the game. I believe they play it, they see money, they see the riches, they saw AI doing this thing, and it was like, yo, that's what I want to do. I don't know if they have a love for the game. And that's what I'm saying with a lot of these new MCs. I know that there are players who do have love for the game. But at the same token, I just, like you said, for you wanted to perfect your craft. I've seen dudes who have never rapped a day in their life, and this was back in the 90s at Morgan. They get in the cipher, well, this is probably like late 90s after Morgan, but they be in a cipher, and they'd rhyme, and somebody would be like, yo, you dope, you should rap. They be like, okay, cool, I'll rap now. And that was it. Like, that's how they became an MC. Not too many people are doing what we did. Like you said, mastering your craft.
So y'all always on, like, serious mode? Like, I'm thinking of like 2 Live Crew. Like when 2 Live Crew was out, obviously my serious mode might have been Philosophy.
Right.
And they might have played some of that stuff in the club, just on some New York anthem type, BX anthem type shit. But like the 2 Live Crew, like when they played that, I got it. It was, you know, we in here, we in the club, we young, everybody shaking their ass, you know what I mean? Let's have some fun.
Yeah, that was the fun shit. Cause I still remember where I was at when I first heard 2 Live, the 2 Live Crew shit. To me, that's part of the balance. Like you still got a balance of things. Like, you know, so 2 Live Crew.
So you saying like these cats are just coming out with whole albums of just, that's it? That's your beat? Like you just coming out with this whole album of just Poison? Like, is that the beat? Like, yeah, I'm asking you. Like, is that? No,
I'm talking about the radio. What the radio decides.
Okay, they just keep playing that. All right.
I'm saying the radio. I mean, as far as those cats' album, I just choose not to listen to them. But I'm saying what the radio chooses to play, the majority of what they choose to play. If it's Poison, then you're going to populate your community with that mentality. You can't. It's going to happen. You can't go and throw throw mud on a wall and expect it not to be a stain. It's just going to happen that way. So I think my thing is not with necessarily the cats. I mean, people can choose to do whatever they want to do because in their minds, they may not see it as like a Poisonous album. They might like, yo, this is my life. And I'm not. Who am I to say that they're wrong? But I'm saying that if the radio back to back, if the majority, if a good 90% of what you're playing is nonsense, then you're gonna get nonsense in the community. If you put nonsense in the community, then I got a problem with it. Just in the same way I would back in the 90s. If all they played was NWA, I got a problem with it. Because it's like, yo, you're not balancing nothing out at all.
And I think that's the huge problem, Evan. It kind of comes back to what you said. I don't think nowadays everybody wants to be different. In our era, people wanted to be different. I didn't want to come out and sound like you. I didn't want to come out and sound like Smith & Wesson. People were original, whereas now, again, because now hip-hop is a way for people to make money. It's a new way. Because keep in mind, when I went to Morgan in 92, and we talked about this, PMD told you, in 92 on Crossover, still I haven't seen one rapper living comfortably. So you got cats in 92 who was probably living in 2-bedroom apartments, living in condos. Vic, I don't know if you saw the article I sent of an old Source article where they said Q-Tip, this is when Midnight Marauders dropped. Q-Tip was still living in his mother's house, sleeping in his sister's twin bed with her posters still on the wall. This is Q-Tip. This is one of the dopest MCs of this time who was still living at home with his mother. And what, Midnight dropped in like 94? So you're telling me that one of the dopest MCs in hip hop still lives at home?
Why was he at home?
But you know that's the
what though?
Well, he had the decision to either move out of his mother's house or buy a BMW 3.25.
He chose to go
and he brought the BMW. But I guess what I'm saying is that the fact that if you took a rapper of Q-Tip's celebrity height of being an MC in 94, Q-Tip was probably, we could say, one of the best, right?
As far as rappers? No.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, in 94, Q-Tip was dope.
Q-Tip was, Tribe was.
I'm not saying he was not. I'm just saying that
Tribe was dope. You know,
I'm saying Tribe Called Quest was very dope. Q-Tip was on everybody's guest appearance. Q-Tip was a dope MC. And at the end of the day, 94, it's either Into the Woo or Midnight Marauders. Okay. Those were the two biggest albums of the year. When we did the Tribe show, y'all, Ev, you were saying Midnight may have been one of the best hip hop albums ever. So all I'm trying to say is that Q-Tip was a very popular MC.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
I think it was, part of it.
Well, hold tight, Vic. Hold tight for 1 sec. And if you took a MC of Q-Tip caliber now, he shouldn't have to make a decision. Do I want to move out of my mother's house or buy a car? So that's what I'm saying is that nowadays,
a person in Q-Tip's caliber now doesn't. Who would you put in Q-Tip's caliber now? They're making a pretty good chunk of change.
Right. That's my point. My point is that this is how much hip hop has changed. So once hip hop got to that point, I was just trying to show that even a big popular MC like Q-Tip had to make a decision: move out of mom's house or buy a BMW. If you have a rapper now, I'm just showing you all the money that has poured into the game. A rapper of Q-Tip's caliber in 2013 would never have to make that decision. He could buy 3 houses and 3 cars, buy his mom's a house. So it's just nowadays, I think more people are getting into hip hop just for the money, not for the craft, not for the responsibility, not for any of those things. That's why I don't know if it can come full circle, because so much money is involved now.
I'm gonna tell you how it can. And this is something that I watch young gurus speak on, and to me that's one of the smartest cats in the industry right now. The reason how it can now is because the reason why there was so much money that got thrown into it is because the labels did that. The labels came and be like, yo, if you talk about that, yeah, we're gonna sign you, give you the deal, this is that. The labels don't have that to sign those type of contracts anymore, number one. Number two, just like Young Guru said, they're gonna become glorified promotional companies. So that means to say that you're gonna have a lot of artists attempting to reemerge themselves again or find promotion again and do it. It's like the level is going to drop. The money's not going to be there no more. So in my mind, you have situations like, and this is a very bad example, but it's the only one I can think of at the moment, is like with Beyonce's album. The label didn't want to put it out. She put it out herself because she had the money to put it out. But she put it out herself, and it's one of the top-selling albums of this year or last year, whatever the case may be. It sold a whole lot of units. So, and that was something that she personally wanted to do. So it shows that, number one, the label never really did have the supreme idea of what to put out all the time, because they chose not to put that out, and that shit sold like hotcakes. So I think the fact that the label's crumbling, and don't get me wrong, I'm not with, people are losing their jobs because of it, and I don't feel good about that. But I do understand. I do like the fact that it puts the creative control back into the artist's hands, so the artist can dictate again. So what do you want to talk about? So now it goes back to, okay, so what do you want to talk about? You can't get this crazy deal no more. So it's not like what somebody else wants you to talk about. What do you want to talk about?
But I think that what happened, man, my 2 cents on it is, I use the DJ for example, man. You used to have to crate records. You used to have to know what needles to buy, all this stuff, and how to mix and hold the blend. And when the computer came out and the CDJs and Audio 8 and Serato, it made it easier. And I think we're on a cusp. It's not when you guys, I think what you guys were talking about was when it was primal. It was just harder. Working the SP, you had to listen, you had to have the actual record. You couldn't get on YouTube and cut and paste and get your little part and make a hit, and as producers, I mean, y'all used to work with tape. You imagine if it were working with tape, I wouldn't even be talking to y'all cats right now, because you'd be 8 hours splicing something right now. You don't have to do that no more. I say that to add on to the fact, I think we're on a cusp, and when the next group of kids, the next group of talent comes and decides, you know what, I'm not going to be cheap anymore. I'm going to expand on what I know and get back into, I'm going to do some real art. You know what I mean? I think that's when you'll see the change, man. I think that's when we just lost the primacy of it, man. And it's and of course people wanting to make money off of it. Yeah, I'm gonna exploit you, and until somebody, me and you always saw that was the whole post boat. I mean, you could have easily been on some. We probably wouldn't even be talking to you right now, because you'd be, in the beach or something somewhere, with the shiny suit on. But you chose to, what you were saying, just to tail on what you were saying, to learn your craft and push the picture in your mind. And you know what? I'm gonna really make this come into fruition. So, like what Kel was saying, basketball, that's guaranteed money. So, you know what? I'll just sit on the bench on Miami Heat. Right. I ain't gotta play. I'll play enough to get on their bench and just sit there, and I'm guaranteed. What's the league minimum? What, $1 million?
1.5 now?
Yeah. And I think you have that a lot now with the music.
But I think now that the deals aren't there the way that they are, you're going to have a lot less people getting into it for the money, because there is no money.
But see, that's the difference. I disagree. There is still a lot of money. It's just not from the labels. Because Fat Joe said something one time. There was a time, I can't remember the year, but the big thing was ringtones. There was times when you go platinum off a ringtone. So it was like, I don't gotta get the money from the label.
Where's the money?
I could go platinum with ringtones. And if 1 million people buy this ringtone for $1, that's $1 million.
No,
you got to like.
But that was a fad that lasted maybe a couple of months.
Right, but what I'm saying is, even with
probably generated 15 more.
Sure. I'm
right,
sure.
but this is the thing. Like, even if you look at the dude Chief Keef, this dude is putting out mixtapes, and this dude got all this money. His albums don't even sell like that. Is what I was reading. So
that's out of the trunk. That's a Cash Money dude. That's Andy.
Right. But that's what I mean. A lot of these dudes, or even a dude who was the chick? What's the dude name? Y'all know him, skinny tight wearing dude, Wiz Khalifa. They were saying how his album kind of flopped. But the mixtapes, so that there's still money out here, but it doesn't have to necessarily come from the labels. Because I remember it was around 2007. And Beans was about to put out his next album. He was doing it independent. I was hyped because I was like, now this is 2007, so this is 7 years ago. The record industry has been crumbling for some time now. This isn't just a new phenomenon like over the past year. This has been going on for ever since we could start getting LimeWire and all that stuff and downloading for free, which is maybe going back to 2001, 2000. What was that, Napster? That may go back to 2002 almost. So this is a problem that the industry has been dealing with a while. And I remember I was so hyped because I was like, yo, Beans is going to bring it this album. He ain't on Rockefeller. He can rhyme about whatever he wanted to do. And the whole album was BS. The whole album was songs with R. Kelly and still trying to make radio songs. And I'm scratching my head like, I don't get it, Beans. And this was a lot of other artists too. They were still trying to get that radio love. They were still trying, because even as an independent, to be honest, as an independent, I need the radio love even more than I needed when I was on a major.
Not necessarily. I strongly disagree with that.
But Ev, what I'm saying is what I'm saying is that I know what we're talking. I know what you're talking about. You're talking about hard work. You're talking about kind of what.
Not just that, but I'm saying what my point is. Even for the mixtape, you have to have some type of passion, some type of hustle. If you know you got to get in there and work. If I'm getting in just for the money, but I got to work crazy hard for it, I ain't gonna get into it. Just if I know that I may or may not get it, I got to put all this hustle. Shit, I might as well go over here and get a doctorate degree. I got a better chance of making money that way. So
I mean, it's like selling drugs.
But no, it's not as good at selling drugs. You got fiends. Fiends are gonna keep coming back. For you to push this, I got first thing to do is I have to get you to listen to it, and then I have to convince you to pay for something that people don't pay for no more. That's a harder type of thing.
I mean, but the thing is these Chief Keefs, what's the dude?
Because, but that's what I'm saying. Their hustle is their passion. I'm not knocking them and saying that they're wrong or they
right. But you said it. Their hustle is their passion, not the music. Not the time to put into
To me, the passion has to be the music. For you to go out there and to hustle to sell a bunch of mixtapes off the trunk, you have to be passionate about your music. Whether we agree with your music or not, you're still passionate about it. I'm just saying the differential between that person and the person that just want to get the check. The person that just want to get the check is not going to be passionate about their music. They're going to be passionate about music, period.
And see, I think I disagree, because it's the same thing with the NBA. You got a lot of dudes in the league. You got Andrew Bynum right now who don't want to play. Hold tight. 7-footer, don't want to play. But to get to the NBA, he had to put in a lot of time.
Look at the work.
But they're not passionate about it. There's a lot of people in the NBA right now who do not love playing basketball.
But you are comparing 1.5 million to being a notable MC. Like, that's a completely, you can't even compare those two things, because of course. No. I'm just saying that if you do something, you're saying if you work hard at something, there has to be a passion behind your music. Yeah, but I'm saying it's the worth. If I'm doing hip hop and if I'm not passionate about it, and I know at the end of the day I may get $100,000 check, as opposed to me working in the NBA and I'm gonna get 1.5 million. Of course, even if I don't like being a basketball player, I'm gonna do that shit because the end goal is so much greater than it is for an MC.
But Ab, look at it like this: if you're a poor kid like the teenagers that I work with, $100,000 might look like 1.5.
$100,000 is and that's okay, yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. If you got a kid who don't got
that as a grown man,
I got kids who wear the same clothes every day. So if I tell them you can get $100,000, That's $1 million. That's $1.5.
No, $100,000 isn't guaranteed. We're talking. I'm not saying like you're here today and tomorrow you get $100,000 check. I'm saying there is a road you got to travel up to get to that $100,000. Now, whether or not you make it up that road is the passion. But saying.
This is what I'm saying.
Let me finish. But I'm saying when you walk, if you're going up that road, determines your passion, whether or not it's worth you doing all this work. Because it's not going to happen in a month. It's not going to happen in a year. It's going to take a couple of years for you to get to that $100,000 check. As opposed to the NBA, it could be the same amount of time, but you're looking at $1.5 million. Of course, I'm gonna do more work, whether I like it or not. My possible end goal is $1.5 million. Whether I like this shit or not, I'm gonna go do it.
But Ed, what I'm saying is, you keep saying 1.5 versus 100,000. 100,000 is 1.5 to a kid coming from the hood who don't got nothing. Just listen, it is. And what I'm saying is, the NBA isn't guaranteed. So
neither is 100,000.
Huh?
Neither is the 100,000. What I'm saying.
That's what I'm saying, Ed, that both there's no guarantee. If I say right now I got a 14-year-old youngin who's nice and hoops, and I send him to all these camps and make him play basketball every day, all day, there's 1 million college athletes who don't go on to the NBA. So there's no guarantee. There's no guarantee that all this hard work you do for this passion is going to get you 1.5 million. The same way, there's no guarantee that all this hard work, pressing up CDs, cutting the covers out, slipping them in, going to every hood, every bus station trying to sell, there's no guarantee. So all I'm saying is that I don't think hard work equals passion. Like, if you work hard, then you're passionate about it.
Hard that you fail to incorporate into what I'm saying is time. I'm saying that if it takes me 3 years to get 100,000 and I'm off the street and I gotta hustle for 3 years, I may stick with you, I may not. The chance that the percentage is going to be a lot lower than opposed to it takes me 3 years to get 1.5 million from the NBA. Now the length of time is the same. That's what I'm saying. That's where the passion kicks in, because when you're talking about 1.5 million, whether I'm passionate or not, the chances of me getting that goal is the money, the goal itself, the end game is so much greater. So yeah, I'm gonna stick through 3 years to get 1.5. I may not stick through 3 years to get 100 grand, because in 2 years, I don't know if it's gonna happen or not. But I put all this sweat, all this work. I'm out in the cold. I'm trying to get people to listen to my shit. I'm saying that length of time, you're gonna have a lot of cats falling off. So because of that alone, you're not gonna have as many people in hip hop just to get a check, because it doesn't pay off that well. And
I agree with the both of y'all cats, man. But I think, Ev, though, you got cats that will spend a lot of time at some bullshit, and whatever it's gonna pay off, it's gonna pay off. Maybe this is the wrong example, but look at Rick Ross. His whole shit was almost done. He out here rhyming about all this Scarface shit, coming to find out he was some average dude with a job, working in the prison somewhere. And then he made up his mind, for whatever I'm gonna get out of it, whether it be a Lambo or whatever it was, he stuck with it. He decided to stick with that shit. And I think you have a lot of that, cats that just want, whether it be $5 or 1.5, I'm gonna get some easy dough and just stick with doing the dumb shit.
To me, Rick Ross was passionate. There's no way that you're gonna go and be a corrections officer every day and go to work and still going home and writing rhymes. I know what that shit is about. You go to your 9 to 5, and after your 9 to 5, you go in the studio, you're trying to make music. You are passionate about what you're doing, regardless if we agree with Rick Ross's music or not. We cannot say that cat was just in it for the check. That cat was in it for passion.
So what if Chief Keef came out right now and said, you know what, fuck rap, I don't care about this shit, I ain't passionate about it, I did it for a check.
And pardon self, man, I shouldn't have used Rick because I like Rick. I guess the example I was trying to use is, when we build, man, we always, that music is whack, and I think that's my point I was trying to make. You had a cat that, the music is whack and he stuck with it, but fuck it, I'm gonna ride this out because they're gonna keep paying for this shit. Why not?
I think we're assuming. My whole thing is that we can't make assumptions on the people that are out now as far as whether or not they're passionate or whether or not they just was in it for the check. All I'm saying, my whole statement is to say that the amount of people that are getting into it for the check today is not going to be the same amount as back in the 90s, because the checks aren't the same. The payout isn't as great the work is a lot more harder. So because of that, you're going to have more people who are in it because they want to be in it, regardless of what their subject matter is, regardless of what they're talking about or where they're coming from. They're going to be in it because there's some type of passion they have for it, as opposed to the smaller percentage. Not saying that there's none. The smaller percentage of people that are just trying to get paid. Like you can't like in this day and age to get in hip hop because I want to get paid. You're an idiot. You are an idiot.
All right, peep this scenario, Ev. If most people I know hate their 9 to 5, right? Okay. Right. Most people I know hate their 9 to 5, can't stand it. Mm-hmm. If you could make what you make at your 9 to 5 trying to do hip hop, they would try it. They would try damn near anything. They would try damn near anything. If there's been a generation of we ready to retire right now. We are not our parents' generation of working 50 years, walking to work, walking home, taking a 2-minute lunch break. This is not our generation. Our generation is one of the most laziest generations there's ever been.
Right.
I'll give this analogy, and it may not be a good one, but around 2000, 2001, there was a shortage of male teachers across the nation. And they were saying to black men, or men in general, come and be teachers. We'll pay back your student loans. You know why a lot of people started to go to teach? Not because they have a passion for kids, but because they wanted to get their student loans paid off. And whatever their major was in college, they couldn't find a job for it. Now, right. Pete Game, it took a lot of work because you can't just go, because I tried, trust me, you can't just go and be like, I'm black, I want to be a teacher. No, you got to take classes, you got to study, you got to write papers, you got to, and even when you get your teacher certification, you still got to go back and get recertified. You still got a lot of hard work. But Ev, trust me when I say working in the school system in DCPS for 13 years, there may only be 10 to 20% of teachers in the school who actually are passionate and care about those kids.
You know what's difference? Oh, my bad.
No. So that's all I was saying is that because I have friends who've done it, and I know they can't stand kids. There's no passion in them whatsoever. Where I go in these kids' classroom, dude got BET playing on, he reading the paper, he ain't even teaching, but after work he got to go take 2 classes at GW to keep his job. So there is a way that you do have to do hard work about something that you're not passionate in for a check. Whether that check is $40,000 as a teacher, because that $40,000 is better than being unemployed. That $40,000 is better than not having any money. And most of these kids who are coming from the hood they have zero. Okay. So anything could be in their eyes a way to get.
Now, all right, I'm gonna break that whole thing down. Love y'all, but I'm gonna break that down. And the first thing is, when you talk about being a teacher is a guaranteed check. It's guaranteed. So every week or every other week, I'm guaranteed to get a check. If I can get into this thing, I'm guaranteed to have that.
Okay.
When you talk about somebody, I'm gonna give you 2 examples. First one is somebody that has a job, they hate their job, and they want to go and they can get their check through MCing. Well, number one, that's not gonna work. You don't just leave and go and do music and then a check comes the next week. It doesn't happen like that. Now, what happens is you have to spend money. You have to spend money on studio time. Because you probably ain't got no studio. Or you're gonna spend money buying equipment, which is a couple grand. Or then you got to spend money for, if you don't know how to do production, you got to go buy a beat from somebody. They ain't gonna give it to you for free. So more 9 times out of 10, you have to pay for that beat. Then you got to, if you're gonna press CDs, you're gonna press them up. Then you got to go sell them. So after you do all these things, you're not making the same amount that you were making from your 9 to 5. That's my first example. Okay, now you say somebody that wasn't making nothing. All right, you ain't making nothing. You ain't got nothing, but yet you still got all of the expenses. You still got to go and find studio time because you got to record somewhere. You still got to get a beat from somewhere. You still got to you can put it up online, you can do your FaceTime thing. You can do your Facebook thing, you can do your Twitter thing. You still have to put in this work, but there is no payoff. The payoff don't come till months later. So you can say, yeah, I'm in it just to get this check, but however, ain't no check coming. So if you're gonna keep doing it, there has to be some passion behind it. It's not just the fact that, I want to get a check, because after a while, that shit is gonna die out.
I agree with both of y'all. It's the plight, audience, the plight of the black man. But I just, to Ev, like on Kill's side, I agree with him because, Ev, it might not be a check. I'll give you a quarter ounce of some drug. And a dude that's a bum that ain't really trying to, yo, you know what? That's all I need. Just give me some weed, and you know, that's my paycheck right there. Somebody, it might be a car. Somebody like what Kill was talking about, it might be paying off my school loan. I think what we getting into is a deeper subject than what we talking about, but I think both, just for the audience, both of these cats is speaking on some valid shit, and y'all really need to replay this segment and really dig into it, man. You know, and I don't think neither one of y'all are wrong.
This is gonna be my last point, and we gonna move on.
Wait. I want a point.
Oh, you got another point?
Nah, go ahead.
No, what I was gonna say was that my kids, I'll give you one of my kids, Quincy. This dude has a whole mixtape done. Now I know Quincy ain't got no money because I pay him to come to my teen center, so I know he ain't got no money. So the whole premise is you don't have to have money.
How's he doing it?
I mean, I guess he's rhyming over other people's beats, which is how some people get signed. That's a mixtape.
You know what that sounds like, though?
He has to be doing it. He's probably doing it.
That sounds like passion, Kill. How's that not passion?
Yo, Q is doing it because he thinks he's gonna be the next Chief Keef.
So he ain't got no passion at all. He just want to be Chief Keef.
I think it's
as simple as that.
I won't assume. I'm gonna. You tell me what to ask him on Monday.
I think it's as simple as that.
You tell me the question to ask Quincy.
Him wanting to be Chief Keef? You saying?
No. Like when you said, does he have any passion? I mean, I'll ask that, or is there? Because I want to make sure I get the answer right. So is the answer Quincy?
And not to be unfair, I'll put it in terms for Ev. Look, man, and not to put our business out there, but you know, we both work that still real, man. We work with a lot of cats that trying to keep up with the Joneses. This is what I gotta do. Not go to school. You were the fortunate one that was like, yo, man, I got a passion. I'm out. We still got, look how many cats we work with. I'm coming out with the album. Yo, what Av doing? You know, but I gotta stay here, you know, and do this thing because I think both of y'all is speaking on some validity. You know, but think about it from where we came from, what we was doing. Think about it from that point, man. I mean, we worked with a lot of cats that, you know.
And I will ask Q on Monday. I will ask him, are you passionate about?
You brought in understand that. Ask him why he's doing it. You can just ask him why.
Okay, ask him why he's doing it. But I was just saying that because I think it's the same thing that we talked about earlier. Is that the thing that separated a lot of people, in my opinion, who had the passion for it, and the people who just wanted to try something was the amount of money. In 95, if you wanted to be a producer, you had to buy an ASR 10 keyboard that was $2,500. You had to buy an MPC 3000, which was $3,000. Nowadays, it's the same play, like I said, with a photographer. Back in the day, a photographer would spend $1,500, $1,800 on their camera. Nowadays, you could just go cop a DSLR from Target for $400. So it doesn't mean I'm passionate about photography. It just means, hey, you know what? I always like taking pictures. I'll try. It's only $400.
Only
it's the same. What'd you say?
Only $400.
I mean, when I say only $400, is that if you're working and you're making $45,000 a year, and your wife is working making $60,000 a year, $400 doesn't cost a lot of money. So
are you taking pictures so you can leave your 9 to 5? Is that your whole point of taking pictures?
I mean, I don't know. I'm just saying that now more than ever, because we have more access to things, people are trying to do more things. So that's why we have a billion DJs. Like you said, Vic, we have so many DJs because now all you need is a laptop. I saw somebody, and I don't even know if this is true, the chick was spinning on an iPad. Now, I know I have a DJ app, but I didn't know you could actually
on the iPad.
And so that's the thing, so that at the end of the day, and I don't know, I'm just assuming, I bet money that there are some DJs out there who just started DJing on an iPad, don't even got a record, like you said, Vic, don't even know what a needle looked like, that's making more money doing parties, because what they're doing is they're cutting their costs so much. So Vic, you're a real DJ, right? And Ev, you want to have a party. Vic wants to charge you $1,000. I'm the new DJ. I just got my MacBook. I don't even need a MacBook. I just got my iPad. I'll charge you $200. You may go with the cheaper DJ. So the cheaper DJ actually may be getting more jobs and more money because he's undercutting
Which
the real
my
DJ.
sister did at a wedding, and the dude played the same song twice.
So my thing is this. I think we're gonna wind up in a different conversation. I don't want to do that. Are we discrediting the dude with the iPad because he's not a real DJ?
No, I'm not discrediting him at all. I'm just saying that this is somebody who probably just got into it.
Probably.
Like, I got an iPad. Oh snap! The DJ app is $20. I'll buy that.
Right.
Versus the person. So I don't know if that person has passion. Just because he had $20 to buy an app, and
that's what I'm saying. We're making these assumptions on these people. So because look, I don't have money to buy Techniques. They don't even sell some shits no more. I ain't got money to buy the turntables, and nobody showed me how to go and find records. But I do have this thing going back from last week called technology. I got this thing. There's a DJ app. I love spinning music. I love doing blends. Let me see if I can do it on that. That person may be just as valid as the cat.
No, you're absolutely right. That person does exist. And then there's also the person who just says, hey, I'll try it. That person exists.
You have a dude with Techniques and records and say, I'll try it.
That person ain't going to go through all that because you're going to have to pay. How much do Techniques cost? Like $500 a pop?
I think whatever you want to call it, being a dad, a brother, a rapper, a worker, a lover, whatever I think there are just some people that my dad used to always tell me, don't come down here and do no half-ass job. And I think in today's age, what Kill was speaking on, we have come to accept that. And I think you have to put it with rap. I think a lot of these kids out here, you know what? There's nobody holding me to a standard to push the bar. And if it could take 500, whatever, take the money out of it. Yo, if this is all I got to do to be in a video and smoke some weed, which I could have a whole episode on that. You know, if this is all I gotta do, then that's what I'm gonna do. You know, I ain't gonna try to come out with no Illmatic. I can't do an Illmatic. And I think there's just a lot of that with everything now. And since we talk about music, I think a lot of the rappers out there, because I've always said that, I'm waiting for the next. I don't get caught in that. Oh, I'm older. These kids ain't talking about some bullshit and. I'm just really waiting for the next cat to come out and it just be on some astounding shit.
And Vic, how long have you been waiting for that?
The last group of kids that came through to me, and I don't want to sound like I'm partial, but I would have to say Slum Village, and I'm gonna use them because me and Ev still rock that joint. Probably all three of us, and you're still playing cats. Be like, yo, what the hell is that shit?
Now, Slum was out in 98. So you're saying from 98 to 2014, you're still waiting for somebody to push the boundary.
Where it just be a movement and we get back to, this is hip hop, this is they encapsulate is the right word, everything about hip hop. Not just rhyming, the way they look, they brought about new slang. We just, you know, cause now, man, it was like that white tee thing. Everybody was on some white tee shit.
Man.
You know what I mean? From coast to coast, it wasn't like, you know, like, can y'all be original? Somebody be fresh or something?
Kendrick Lamar and his crew did exactly that.
I like Kendrick's album. I'm not sold on his crew. I've listened to a couple of songs that they've done. I mean, the Cypher Day was dope. And from that, I've looked at some of their songs, and I don't get it.
Ev, I agree with you. Okay, let's take.
We sound like old heads.
Let's take Kendrick Lamar, but my question is, how much of that other stuff is just some BS, man?
But that's what I'm saying. We're coming out of the BS era.
Okay.
We're coming out of a BS era. It's going to be a lot of BS.
And I've said that we've built before. I always said we were in the disco era of rap music.
BS era, and we're coming out of the era. But at the same point in time, we have to acknowledge the cats that are doing something different. We can't be like, oh, this shit's still garbage.
And I don't think Kill was saying
I'm not saying they're garbage. I'm just saying I don't like the other dudes in Kendrick Lamar's crew.
We can take Kendrick Lamar out of it. Are you saying there isn't anyone else to change the game or push the limits?
To change the game, in my opinion, no. There's a lot of dope MCs.
Who's the last person for you?
I mean, I would probably say. Oh no, B.
We sound like old heads, y'all.
But that's not. But the thing is, that at the end of the day, more than anything, is I hope you're right. I in this situation, I hope I'm wrong, and I hope you're right. I hope you're right that we're coming out of the BS era, and we're gonna be getting more MCs. I hope you're right, because that's what I'm waiting for. I'm not trying to sound old. I'm not hating on these dudes. I think Kendrick Lamar is incredible, but like we always talk about when we were coming up, and like I said, like I quoted you, we keep saying back in the day, back in the day, back in the day.
We ain't gotta go that far back though. I'm like, we can talk about Ghostface. Ghostface ain't changed the game a little bit.
But what I'm saying is, well, I mean, keep in mind, Ghost, Fish Scale. I mean, not Fish Scale, not Supreme. His first album came out in the 90s.
Fish Scale came out in what? 06?
I mean,
05, 06?
No, I'm talking about as far as somebody new. So Ghost came up in the 90s. So I'm saying for 2000, you know who I think? Fonte. If I had to say that there was an MC,
he's not new.
He came out in 2000. Little Brother dropped in 2000. When I say new, I'm talking from this millennium, from 2000 to now. What MC came out? And Little Brother came out in, I think, 2001.
Well, wait, you gotta put Slum in there, because when did Slum come out?
Slum was out in 97. We was banging that at WEAA. We was banging Get This Money and Players and all that stuff back then. So that's all I'm saying, is that even when people told me about Kendrick, I think Kendrick is dope, but it's like we've talked about in our era when we grew up and somebody said, yo, this kid Nas is gonna be the next one. That dude's face is on the Mount Rushmore of hip hop. Even Snoop, when Snoop came out, that dude changed the game. You know, when Big came out, when Jay came out. So those are the dudes that, like, I'm with Vic, like saying like, yo, who just came in and just flat out changed the game. I don't even think Fonte changed the game.
First of all, Jay didn't change the game when he first came out.
Okay, all right. I don't mean he changed the game.
And neither did Big when he first came out.
But what I'm saying is, at the end of the day, these MCs that I'm naming are 9 times out of 10 in the average hip hop's fan, at least top 10, if not top 5.
Real fast. Just one thing. I'm sorry, Vic. Just one thing I want to add is, what I'm noticing is, you're looking at people, when you say back in the day, you're looking at people whose first album wasn't a breakthrough, but they gained momentum as they went along. But now we're looking for the young artists to come through and their first album be a break. Big first album Big wasn't a big artist when Ready to Die came out.
He wasn't?
No, hell no.
He sold 5 million records.
I think we getting back in the
when it first came out, or was that?
Yo, Big was the dopest MC on the planet, with Juicy, Who Shot Ya, Unbelievable, Big Papa, One More Chance, the remix. I mean,
I think we getting
hit the ground running. Nas hit the ground running. Doggy Style hit the dog. Hit all the people I just named. Their first album is their best album.
We getting into who our top 10 is, and I think, you know, when we started, it was about, you know, club bangers versus, you know, playing some real shit.
Right.
And then we let off with, you know, hard work and passion. And I think at the end of the day, to both of y'all, it's safe to say, man, I mean, it's some cats, because of the technology, because of the way it's presented now in the media, it's really some cats that are just, you know, bullshitting and getting over. And then, you know, not to put no names to it, it just really is. My father used to always say that. You can have a college degree, but can you apply that shit? Can you even apply it? And I think that's what we were getting, you know, to start from the beginning to now, you know, with the way things are. I think there really are a lot of people in the industry, DJs, MCs, producers, whatever, that are just, you know, they might be, I don't even want to call it hard work to agree with that. Maybe it's not that. It might look like it's hard work, but I think we just got a lot of bullshit artists, man.
I mean, I'm not going to dispute that. I know there is some, but at the same point in time, because they're using technology, doesn't make them put them any less work than a cat that using the older technology.
Well, I'm not getting into whether you got older or newer technology. I'm just saying technology as a word, period, because we do live in a technical age versus, you know, how they were making music in the 70s.
Yeah, I understand that. But my question is, then, are you saying because these cats are coming out and they're using the new age technology that some kind of way they're lesser than?
No, I'm not saying that they're lesser, but I think a lot of them are not, you know, not doing a little bit more than they could.
How do you know that though? That's my whole point. Like we cannot. That's a very strong statement to make, because they're using the same thing that we used when we came out. They're using what was at their disposal. They're using what's at their hands, what they can get their hands on. And so we can't say that because these things are the new things that they're using and they can get their hands on it, that now they're not putting as much.
I can't give you anybody. I can't give you anybody specific in rap. I mean, if I use my job, I could name like 3 people off the top of the dome that they better be glad that we got this shit, cause and they really not trying to do it. They actually pretty dangerous in my line of work.
I'm not saying
they need to let them go. And that's my point. I think there are some cats that know, you know what, man? Look, man, I'm just look like I don't want to even use that. I just think there's some people out there that are just, because of the era, the age that we're in with the technology, they're not going to do. See, when I think of passion and hard work, I honestly think of you. And all them times we was in the vestibule and in the crew room and seeing you go through in your mind how I got to get this together to get my album and get away from and what you went through. That's my example that I would use. And I know a lot of cats is talking about making albums, and I've seen what they went through. It is nothing like what you did. If it wasn't for the fact that they didn't have Fruity Loops, they wouldn't even really.
Well, I definitely agree with you. There are a lot of cats that's doing that. I just think that has always been the case. There was, I mean, just me coming up, there was cats back in the day with an MPC, whereas the generation before, but like, you ain't gonna get on the drum set and play them drums. You ain't really putting in enough work, and they could technically say that.
Right.
We're trying to make those same statements now. I'm just saying that, you know, there is going to be. I think that's always going to happen. There's always going to be people that are going to do lesser.
And I think on that note, that artist is a lot cheaper in the long run than an artist like you.
And let's say this, so we can wrap up, Vic. Perfect way to sum it up. What we talked about, from the radio to the clubs to passion. Like everything I think we said tonight, you know, is something. And I think of, you know, for my last point, I think it's kind of, it almost goes back to last week's show of the definition of musician, because I think it's the definition of passion. And I'll use myself as an example, because like you said, we're assuming and we don't know. I do photography. The only reason why I brought that camera was because we couldn't find anybody to do Fanat's video shoot and photo shoot, so I brought the camera. Because my idea was, well, if I gotta spend $1,000 for the photo shoot and a video, I might as well buy the camera. So I brought the camera. You know me, bruh. I did research on videos, how to do photography, all that stuff. But in my mind, I'm not, if Tanya asked me right now, are you passionate about photography? I'll be like, nah, not really. I mean, it's a hobby, but I'm not passionate about it. I'm passionate about my music. So even for me, now you may say, again, kind of like last week's show with your definition of passion, will kill you taking the time to get to know it and do all this and do all that. But I'm just saying, for me, if somebody said, Kill, are you passionate about photography? Because when I think of passion, it's almost like I can't go a week without making beats. I can't go a week without digging in some crates. I can't do it. When you're passionate about something, for my definition, time can't go by without it being done. I don't know when the last time I've done a photo shoot. And I'm not sitting here like, oh my God, I gotta get my camera and get out. I'm not even thinking about my camera. It's not even on my mind. Not at all. So for me, I do it. I may be good at it, but am I passionate about it? Nah. But that's my definition of passion. So, but another great show, live at the writer's bench. You know what I mean? You know us. We start here, we end here. But throughout the whole show, it's a live conversation. Let us know your comments. Live at YouTube.com/live from the bench. Follow us at the Live Writers on Twitter. Vic, Ev, salute as always, brother.
Peace.
Another dope show. Keep it locked, y'all.
Peace.